Alone, there is so much we cannot do. But together, there is so little that we cannot accomplish.
This, will go down as a very sad moment in our history as mankind.
The words of Hebrews 4:14, hold fast to the beliefs you profess. Those aren't words targeted just at Scott Jensen. They're targeted at the other side too.
Welcome to The Wellness Way with me, Philly J. Lay, a layperson's guide to your natural health systems, your very own NHS.
Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another fantastic episode of The Wellness Way. And today I have a man that I have complete and utter admiration for. Back in 2020, I came across him on Instagram, and he was one of the only doctors at that time, this is back in March 2020, that I actually saw giving us information for what we could do to protect ourselves. Everybody else was putting us in fear. A lot of people were too frightened to speak. But this amazing man was actually giving us information, going, hey, guys, this is what you can do. At that time, he was a senator, and he has been a family doctor for 35 years. And I want to introduce you to Dr. Scott Jensen. Dr. Jensen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Philly, it's my pleasure. And thank you for the kind words. I look forward to a robust conversation.
Absolutely. So first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience today. And your credential list is so long, I can't tell you. It's going to be, you sent me like 2 pages, and I know your credential list. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from?
Well, I'm a small town kid. I grew up in a community of 3,000 people in the southern portion of Minnesota, which is smack dab in the Midwestern plains of the United States. My mom was my hero. My mom was my best friend. My dad was my hero, and they both died relatively young of colon cancer. My parents really advocated for being a part of the community, so that was something that I gravitated to naturally. I had 3 brothers and a sister, and 2 of my brothers have passed, one from suicide, which was a powerful experience in my life, and I think it did shape the way I think about things. My father was a lawyer and a judge and a politician for a period of his life, and he taught us to be skeptical. And I think I come by a certain brand of skepticism pretty naturally. I went to the University of Minnesota after graduating valedictorian of my high school class. I was in dental school and president of the class, and I really enjoyed the biochemistry and the anatomy and the physiology and the biochemistry, but I did not really like teeth. So I left dental school and I went to the seminary, and I made 2 huge decisions that year, the seminary. My mom died that year. So I decided to ask this girl I was dating if she would marry me. And she said yes. And we've been together 45 years, and Mary's a veterinarian. And I also made the decision to go into medicine. So I went into medicine. Again, I think I went in as a skeptic. And medicine sort of reinforces that. The training I received as a young doctor in both medical school and my residency always pushed us towards questioning ourselves. And if we thought we were for sure right on, we better step back. We were taught that science breathes and seldom is a settled matter, but frequently the matter of science does evolve. And so I had a wonderful career, a little bit like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life. In 2016, I was named the Minnesota Family Doctor of the Year. And that was the year I ran for Senate, and I was elected to the Senate in Minnesota and received more votes than any other Republican senator that year in Minnesota. And then I did my 4 years, and in the 3rd year, I had been a bit of a lightning rod because I did bring my brand of skepticism to the Senate floor. And so oftentimes my Senate colleagues on the Republican side of the equation weren't sure what I was going to say next. And my Democratic colleagues oftentimes waited anxiously to see if I would weigh in with them, because I don't think that one party has a monopoly on the answers. But in the third year of my Senate career, my wife, had numerous health problems that came up, and it was apparent that we were going to have multiple surgeries. So we made the decision together that I was not going to run for re-election. This was time to focus on Mary's health. And so we did that. And Mary had multiple surgeries, and I'm grateful to be able to report that she's been amazing and done well, and has had 4 levels of her neck fused. She's had multiple joints. And she still golfs and gardens and bicycles, and is an incredible grandma to our 7 grandchildren. Our 3 kids, 2 of them are physicians and 1 is a lawyer. Don't ask me what went wrong with the lawyer, but we love them just fine. But we decided not to run for re-election. We were content with that. Mary was getting better.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast. Did you know I have an online series, the Wellness Way Masterclass, where you can learn all the wonderful things that you can do to heal yourself and have optimal health. Please go and check it out on phillyjlay.com, but here's a little teaser. My daily essentials are EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, tapping, fasting, breath work, cold water therapy, showers, exercise, and flavonoid soups or smoothies. I love that word, flavonoid. So try them out, pick your own daily essentials. They're a great way to structure a healthy lifestyle. Thank you for joining me, and I really look forward to going on this journey with you. And let me know who you'd like me to interview. Write it in the comments. Please subscribe, share, write a review, and let's get this information out there. Thank you.
The mindset for you and I, Philly, is that I know very intelligent people. Some of them, I am absolutely convinced, are far more intelligent than I, and they see it differently than I do. So I do not get to declare the arrogance that I'm right and they're wrong. I will continue to speak the truth and the perspective that I see. But I know people that are very, very smart. And even today, we have disagreements on many of the features that have affected our lives over the last 3 years. What that tells me is that the words of Hebrews 4:14, hold fast to the beliefs you profess. Those aren't words targeted just at Scott Jensen. They're targeted at the other side too. The person who disagrees with me completely, they also get to grab hold of those words. That's where we're at. So somehow we have got to be able to move from holding someone who disagrees with us in contempt to holding someone who disagrees with us to the invitation. Let's go to the pub and have a beer and see if we can knock out some common ground. Or let's go have a cup of coffee and see if we can find something we agree on, and maybe we can build from there. If we don't do that, it's just a stalemate.
It is. And I do believe that we're coming into a great time of hope, because the world can't continue as it is. And we know that. And maybe something had to come to make this shift happen. And so just to finish this last section of the podcast, Dr. Jensen, please give us your words of hope where you see humanity going forward.
I would love to say that one person came up with a discovery that absolutely changed the world, and another person came up with an invention that absolutely changed the world. And isn't it clean and neat and marvelous as to who we can identify as those people? But I don't think it works that way. We're incrementally based. Thomas Edison was able to discover what he discovered because of people who did work before him and people who refined his inventions later. Christopher Columbus would never have made it to America were it not for some deckhands that were willing to put their life on the line to get him from one continent to another. What that tells me more than anything is that alone There is so much we cannot do. But together, there is so little that we cannot accomplish. Somehow, those facts, those bookends have got to drive our behavior. We have got to let go of the enmity. It cannot be about revenge. It has to be about revival.
Do you think you would join him if you were invited to go back into politics?
Well, for now, I'm standing on the sidelines trying to bring some measure of justification to the First Amendment rights that I think I was denied. And so that's my focus, to be sure. This is about every human being on the planet being able to be their own best champion of their healthcare. And that means they get informed consent. That means they get to stand up for who they are. That's why I have to go the next step and ask the courts in our country to say, would you please speak to this issue? Because shouldn't we have been able to have a conversation that was far more truthful, far more disclosing, far more open and transparent than what we had? Because that didn't happen. People got shut down and squashed. And so that's why I'm filing suit against the Attorney General in Minnesota and the Minnesota Board. And that's why we started a crowdfunding mechanism whereby people could help. And all they have to do is go to givesendgo.com/Scott Jensen, and they can help. I know it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to raise this issue all the way up the flagpole to the Supreme Court if necessary. But it matters because this is for all of us. This is for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Jane, Jill, and Mary, because it can be to all of us. We can be stepped on. I met this morning with an immigrant to the United States whose voice is small, but his voice is powerful. And I said to him, why did you want to have coffee with me? And he said, because nobody's listening to me, and anybody who wants to squash me can do so pretty easily. Scott, he said, you have a voice that can help protect me. That's why we're going the next step.
Amazing. Absolutely fantastic. And there's that great Anita Roderick quote. Could be doing a lot of quotes today. As she just says, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try going to bed with a mosquito in the room. And you are definitely that mosquito. And for that, I'm very grateful. And we're going to put the GoFund in the show notes. Please, everyone, just go. And I know that we're all struggling financially at the moment, but whether it's $1, whether it's $10, this is a brilliant, brilliant doctor who's giving an opportunity for us to stand up. Thank you so much today for coming on The Wellness Way. Thank you.
Thank you, Philly. It's been a pleasure.
And if you'd like to hear a little bit more of my conversation with Dr. Scott Jensen, come and join us on my Locals channel now, link in the show notes. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.